Now this could be interesting.
Now that noise, do you want to explain, Steve?
I will. I've just sent a text to this number that some of you may have heard of, 63336. Now, apparently this is a number you can send a text to, and it will answer any question that you have for it. And in the past, for instance, I sent it quite profound questions. I once asked it, should they have dropped the second bomb on Nagasaki, and it had a very thoughtful answer. So we've sent it a question, perhaps equally thoughtful. Karl Pilkington believes in ghosts. Is he an idiot?
Karl, do you believe in ghosts?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen like a proper ghost.
So why do you believe in something that there's no evidence for?
Yeah, but why are we here then? If it is just sort of you're born, right? And we are useless. At least other creatures, when they're born.
Well, you speak for yourself.
No, but other creatures are born to do a job, aren't they? When a bee's born, you know what that's going to be doing. It hasn't got any options. That's got a job to do. And it does that job and it dies and the next one comes along.
Oh.
We asked it, do you believe in ghosts? The existence of ghosts is not proven. Many experiments have claimed to identify ghosts, but none have been scientifically sound.
Excellent. See,
Yeah,
that's a sensible, intelligent, logical, thoughtful answer.
Weird things have happened to me when I was living at home. And was in bed one night.
Where do you live now?
No, but I was at my first home.
Your parents?
Yeah, my mum and dad's. So I'm in bed, and I'm lying there. And you get that sense of like, there's something going on.
Right.
And I sort of look over my quilt, and there's nothing there. Thinking it's weird, that. So turn me back on it. I'm thinking I don't want to know. If there is something there, I don't want to know. Right? So I'm turning me back on it. But then there's like a really high-pitched noise, right? Sort of the hairs on my back are like going up a bit. And I'm like, I don't like this. And it's the high-pitched noise.
You had a hairy back
louder.
even as a kid?
No, but everyone's got little hairs on them, haven't they? Everyone's got little tiny hairs on them and stuff. And I thought, I can't stand this. And I turned around, put the light on, legged it downstairs, right? And my mum's saying, what are you doing? I'm going, I don't know, there's something up there. So she said, alright, then watch the telly. So I stayed up for a bit, watching the telly, went back to bed, the high-pitched noise had gone, went to sleep, get up the next day, Charlie from next door comes round, he goes, Hilda's dead, right? And my dad said, when did that happen? I said, last night at 11:15.
Right.
That's when I was in bed.
So, what are you telling me for?
Because it's weird, isn't it? It's that thing of...
what do you think would be weirder, that no one ever died at 11:15 when you were in bed?
No, but that's when all the weirdness was going on. That's when the tone was happening, my back was getting itchy and stuff. And
Coincidence.
And I went down and watched telly, went back up, gone and that, but that's when her spirit had sort of...
No.
Ah, okay, right, interesting. No, this is where we get into the facts.
So Hilda's spirit had left
whizzing round my bedroom, because my bedroom was right next door to theirs.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, that's one.
Why do they whiz round when they die? Why do spirits whiz round when they die?
Because they're going, where am I going?
Are they?
And they're whizzing round, aren't they? Am I going down? Am I going up?
No, it's Karl. No, but I'm going the wrong way.
Yeah, but it's not going to be easy, is it? How do you think it works?
It doesn't work.
But once again, it's not proof of anything, Karl. Beyond the fact that you were a child in bed.
Why did your dad ask what time she died?
No, he just sort of, what do you say to someone when it's awkward, isn't it? When someone gives you bad news, so you just think, what can I ask? When?
What time
did that happen?
Sorry?
No, you just go,
exactly what time did she die?
My wife passed away.
Yeah,
what time exactly?
No, not exactly. He just said, that's bad. When did that happen? Like,
and he said, well, thanks for asking.
Quarter to 11. Quarter to 11.
I remember.
What did he say last night? That's weird, isn't it? Convenient, aren't they, all these stories?
Or is it? Or, yeah, I mean, it's either that's exactly what happened, Rick, or he's misremembering the actual
I don't know which one to plump for.
But I tell you this though,
go on.
If we're talking about ghosts and that.
Yeah.
Now, Hilda.
Yeah.
Choose your bog standard old woman.
Right.
I hope that's on the gravestone.
I know. Yeah.
No.
Did you do the eulogy?
No,
That's great. What can we say about Hilda? Bog standard old woman. Right, there's sandwiches at the bar.
That's the most insulting thing you could ever say.
There's nothing.
Let's just think about
Hilda lived her life. thank you for coming to celebrate the life of Hilda.
Who died at 11:15 specifically.
And was a bog-standard old woman. Are we burning or burying?
But anyway, she lived to be quite old.
Which annoyed you.
In a bog-standard way.
But this is what I was saying about us all living too long and stuff. It just makes it worse when it does come to us being a ghost.
I don't know what you're talking about again.
That sentence made no sense.
Just, if you are going to be haunted, right, say, I know you're going to say, well, I don't believe in them, so I'm not worried, so don't be going on about it. But say, like, you know, your new place that you've bought, you move in, and you go to bed, and there's something moving about the room. You see it, it's a ghost.
Oh, no.
Okay, let's, for the sake
More
of
likely, a Siamese cat called Ollie.
No, because that's probably got its own room, hasn't it? But what I'm saying is, would you prefer to have an old person moving about looking at you, or just a young person? I'd prefer a youngish person who looks normal and is sort of floating about, and you go, all right.
That looks normal, floating about.
No, but an old woman would really scare me. And ghosts are always going to have a bad reputation because they look scary because they're old. So that's...
You talk absolute shit.
That's all I'm saying. So
Can you believe we ever charged for this?
No, but look, if we are going into another life, right, after this...
Which we're not,
we move on to another life.
Yeah.
We're not going to move on. That land, say if it is like another world, where we go and we plough fields and we grow croppage. We grow crops, if you want.
Yeah, well, I would like to use the English language.
Yeah, but there's too much fruit about, so just a crop. Just something we need to get by.
Fruit about. He's got an answer for everything.
That's
so we
what
grow
I'm
some
saying.
crop.
Yeah. So you grow your crop, and now, if we're all going into that other land or world or universe, old, who's going to do the cropping?
Oh, God! Oh, I've never heard so much crop in my life.
It's a load of old crop.
Like, you don't believe in, like, scary stuff. Just like, you know, ghosts.
No, I believe in scary stuff. I don't believe in things
ghosts
that are totally
and that.
logical. Yeah, ghosts.
Vampires?
No. Anything made up by man.
Well, there was something in the paper the other day about a vampire. How they found one. They dug something up.
It was in the paper?
And,
it's true then.
It's definitely true.
But we'll leave that because you're just going to do that, so it doesn't matter.
No, come on,
go on, quickly, tell us.
No, it's just that they found a body in a coffin with a bit of wood through its heart and a knife in its mouth. But if you don't believe it,
it was
then
a
what's the
vampire
point?
pirate. It was a vampire pirate.
But that's definitely proof of a vampire then, and of course, and not some grotesque murder. Yeah. That's definitely proof of a vampire. If it wasn't made up.
Hang on a minute.
As far as I'm aware, when you put the thing through their heart, they just turn into dust.
And also, all their victims get their own life back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's
right,
the trick.
and here was the second bit.
Yeah.
Somebody dug it up, got the heart, blended it, burnt it, popped it in some water, drank it, and they're in prison now. Now, if it wasn't dodgy stuff, why are they in prison?
They're in prison because they're mental, because they dug up a body, liquidised its heart, burnt it and drank it. That's why they're in prison.
There's your answer.
Right. But anyway, that isn't what I'm talking about, right? But I met Derek Akora the other week.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Now, who's he? Which one's he?
He's
is he a medium? He can contact the dead, is that right?
He just chats to him and that, passes messages on.
Nice of him.
So I said, oh, tell us something a bit weird and that. So he said, what do you want to know? I said, just something weird. So he goes, alright then. He said, here's one for you, right? And he said, there's this pub out in the country. And he said, there's this mug. Do you know those old mugs that they have? Where they used to like leave their own cup knocking
like
about, didn't they?
Oh, yeah.
The tankard thing.
Yeah.
So there was one of them mugs in there, right? And everybody...
Tankard, let's use tankard if we've established that's the
tankard,
word.
Yeah.
Because you're the only mug in this story.
Right.
You believe in it all.
High five. Great.
So this tankard's knocking about, right? And everyone who's running the pub keeps going, oh, I wish they'd stop leaving this tankard about, right? And they pick it up.
It must be a pain. Having a tiny, small tankard in a pub. That must be a real grind.
So every time they sort of picked it up and went, we'll have to wash that, and they popped it on a different sideboard. Next thing you know, that person who's touched it died, right?
Sure.
So
they must have been getting through bar staff.
So they kept getting new staff and that, and they were like, what's the connection here? Right?
What's the connection here?
Oh, God.
So anyway,
call Australia, we've run out.
So they sort of, someone notices and they go, you know, it's a bit weird, it's that cup, right? So they get
tankard.
So it's that tankard and that. So they get a vicar in.
Of course they do.
And they go, look, there's a lot of weird stuff going on here. This tankard, every time someone touches it, they die. So he said, leave it with me. He gets his special water out and what have you. He comes round, does a little prayer, sprinkles it. He goes, right, not a problem, don't worry about it. He picks it up, chucks it in the bin. Guess what?
What?
Dies in a crash on the way home. Because he'd picked it up.
Well, but Carl, you're telling me this like it's fact, and I'm meant to go, that's amazing.
Cora, he told me.
Carl, I have no opinion of that story, other than I'm pretty sure there was absolutely no connection between touching the tankard and him dying. That's all I'm sure of.
It's not just him, though, is it?
I'm not going to even contest the chain of events. All I'm saying is there is no connection. There is no connection possible, because I believe in logic and the laws of the universe. So when you're telling me miracles and strange things outside coincidence, you may as well be telling me about the Tooth Fairy and the Easter Bunny, because they're equal to me. That it's ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous.
So what would it take though for you to go, oh, I'm actually a believer now?
But what you're saying is I can't answer that question, because I'd have to base my beliefs on some of your premises, which I can't do. It's like you saying, but what if you found out that 2 and 2 equaled 5? I can't. It's a necessary truth that it doesn't. I'd have to go back and fundamentally disagree with what I think twoism is, two-ness and fiveness.
And you've never been in a situation though where you've gone, this room feels a bit weird. Could be something, do you know what I mean? Could be something knocking about, or.
But that's a different question. I could go into a really rough-looking pub and think, this isn't good, because it's based on induction then. Because
I mean, like, you know, if you've been to Cornwall on holiday and stayed somewhere and you've gone, do you know what? I'm sure something's died in here. I'm sure
something's died everywhere.
Yeah, but what I mean, you never pick up a vibe of, like, I've got a mate, right, who is living in this big stately home, right? And what
Why is he living there?
He's paying £100 a month, right? And it's almost like he's being a security man.
Oh, right.
But he's not. He doesn't sit out the door with that on and everything. He just goes about his life, but he bases most of his work in this stately home.
So what is it, like a
housekeeper, like he's sort of house sitting?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, it's massive. It's bigger than Buckingham Palace, this place, right?
So what is it, a billionaire that's gone away or something?
I think it's some sort of, I think he said something about a viscount or something, right? He said he owns this place. He's living in America. This place he owns, but it's falling to bits.
Wow.
And he's worried that people are going to go in there and squat and what have you. So he said to me, mate, you know, there was an advert in the paper, he doesn't know him, advert in the paper saying, do you want to live in a big house? 100 quid or whatever. And, he went and had a look, right, and he's living in there now. He pays £100 a month. There's about 80 rooms.
Gee.
And it's this big stately house and what have you. And I went down there. He said, oh, come down and have a look, right? And from outside you go, oh, this is brilliant. It's like something out of, you know, like the Man of Born or something. You go, this is impressive. But then when you get in, it's like, it's a wreck.
It's right? Just falling apart because they can't afford.
Well, it's just been left. No one's doing any vacuuming up or anything. There's like rat poison everywhere. Like windows are smashed, doors kicked in.
That's a real shame. Why is it? Is it?
I don't think he's doing his job, is he?
Is it because it would cost like millions to do up or
well,
something?
Apparently it'd be like, I think they're going to have it done up, but it's going to cost like 80 million, right? So anyway, so
it's a big house.
It's a big house.
So we go to the pub and what have you. I've got like a little torch, and we're wandering around looking in all these different rooms, right? And I'm asking him, how's it got in this state? Do you know what I mean? If someone's had it, why have they let it get to this state? And he was saying how, you know, it was like a mental home at one point, and it was like a drug thing as well. People who had problems with drugs, they popped them out there because it's in the middle of nowhere. Do you know what I mean? If you needed drugs or anything, forget it. It's not going to happen. Do you know what I mean? So that's straight away. Do you know, like, have you ever been in a hospital when it's been shut down, or a school when there's no kids in it, and there's that sort of bad atmosphere of like weirdness?
Yeah.
Right?
For the sake of argument,
yeah.
So we're wandering about, and I say, oh yeah, what's in this room, right? And we go in, and all the floors are like a wreck and rotten and stuff.
and I looked at the wall, and there was like a little piece of paper stuck on the wall, right? And I said, what's this here? So I wandered over, right? Got right up close to it, and somebody had wrote
Somebody had roted.
Oh.
Somebody had roted.
I love this. Imagine doing Jack and Ori. Right, okay. Right, go on, sorry.
So there's a little sign there, right? And I go up to it, and it says, flies, right? With an arrow. Flies, like, flies this way, right? I think that's a bit weird. So I follow the arrow, right? Which goes to this corner where there's a shelf. About 3,000 dead flies on it.
Oh my God.
Condom stuck on the top. That's weird, isn't it?
That is weird.
That is weird. Right? So I'm looking at that, and there's loads of stuff on the floor and that, bits of paper. Picked up this bit of paper, right? And it had, like in biro and that, it looked really old, like it'd been there years. And it had, something like, need nappies, dummy, right? Blankets, like all this, like all stuff for, like, and I turned it over, right? And it said, none of this now needed, baby dead.
Right.
Now that's weird, isn't it? Now that's what I'm talking about when you get a bad vibe. You go, that's who's been in here.
So I don't actually understand what point you're trying to make, Carl.
Just because who's written that? Who's been in that room? Who's been in that state? And then straight away your mind starts going, oh, I'm getting bad vibes in here.
But Carl, didn't you just tell us that this was once occupied by drug addicts and mentals, to use your word?
Yeah.
So haven't you put two and two together and thought that was probably who wrote it? That doesn't mean it's paranormal or ghostly. You walk into a building, it's a big, terrifying, empty house. It's terrifying in as much as it's cold and dark and drafty and a little bit spooky in this sort of illustrative sense.
And insecure.
Yeah, you're a bit nervous because it's got this sort of, it's bad vibe. It's just based on the fact that
your mate's in charge.
Yeah, that's terrifying. I mean, yeah, so it's like saying, are we scared of the dark? Yes, I understand why people are scared of the dark. I'm a little bit scared of the dark. You're walking along.
Because you don't know what's in it.
Yeah, you don't know what's in the darkness. That's why people get nervous. It doesn't mean you have to make the leap then that you've got some paranormal sense. Oh my God, I'm Karl Pilkington, and hang on, just like Derek Acora, I have sensed something strange and evil in this room. Wait a minute, there's some flies in a condom. I was right all along.
That is weird.
Flies in a Johnny equals madness.
the flies in a condom was weird.
It's weird. I don't know.
But the note.
Yeah.
I just think of his face when he saw that, reading it by torchlight. You must have been terrified.
Right, there's this fellow, I think it happened in America, and he saw a bright light in the sky. And
God, if you're bored.
And he stood there.
This is a true story, is it?
Yeah. He stood there.
Yes, of course it isn't, Steve.
And he saw this bright light, and it came closer and closer, and it was a UFO. Right?
Yep.
And he looked at it, and it disappeared, right? And he gets back in his car.
He looks in the mirror.
And he looks in the mirror.
Yep.
He's only got a beard.
Yes.
Right?
What?
And it turned out, he got home and said to his wife or his girlfriend, it's a bit weird. So I just the death thing, right?
Yeah.
There was an argument on there about, do you know that Twilight Zone or whatever it was, Tales of the Unexpected?
Oh, yeah.
Where the woman got buried alive?
Yeah.
They were saying how, like, years ago, they'd bury people thinking they're dead.
Yeah.
And they've recently, like, dug coffins up, and then the people who were in the coffin weren't dead, they might have just been, like, in some sort of deep sleep or whatever. And they've lifted the lid off, and there's scratch marks on the thing.
Yeah.
And that's pretty scary.
Makes you think. I mean, I hope they check these days. I don't know where. I thought you'd sort of learnt a little bit, Carl, what is an interesting fact and what might just be a mentalist online. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what point we're making here? Why the truth is so much more fun? Even a little bit, even something that's just, you know, mild, but is definitely the truth, is so much more interesting than just wish fulfillment of truth. To me, if it starts with there was this ghost, right, it's not interesting. You could say anything. There was this ghost that could turn custard into wine. It doesn't matter. There was this ghost that had 9 heads. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. There was this.
You know, Carl's looking at you going, there's a ghost that can turn custard into wine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you say after that. There's a ghost that can swallow alligators whole. The premise means it's not true to me. Do you know what I mean? It's like people say, you know what?
God, right? He's incredible. I go, I'll stop you there. The fact that you can make the Earth in 7 days, well, you've lost me already. Do you know what I mean? Whereas someone says something like, you know, a cockroach can live 5 days without a head, that's interesting. That's interesting.
Right.
Do you think when you die, they say, you're a ghost? This is going to amaze you. You can go and you can spook people out.
Yeah.
Do you like custard? Come over here.
No. Well, if you don't, you don't. Do you like wine? Of course I do. Oh, you are going to love it.
You're going to love me.
You're going to love it.
I've lost all my loved ones.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean? It's what your sort of beliefs are based on. Mine are sort of on, I suppose, logic and science. And so I'm amazed by the world and.
So the Iceman, why does that amaze you? What's like? Oh.
Well, they found some part of our preserved past. You know, it's interesting. Again, I'm amazed by anthropology and evolution.
Yeah, it's just that line on its own like that. You know, they found an Iceman is great, but then it went on, and it's going on about, you know, they've had to get different people involved to find out how old it was. Because first of all, the story started off right, an old fellow on holiday somewhere. Where did they find it? In Sweden or something? And he was walking in the hills. And
he was walking
in the hills.
In heels? Was he a transvestite?
In the mountains.
Oh, right.
In the hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's walking about, and he sees this body in the snow, and he thinks, oh. So he calls the police up, and they come and have a look, and he goes, oh yeah, it's probably a murder. So then they dig it up and find out. He's got hold of a spear in his hand. Right,
and he's dressed like Fred Flintstone.
Yeah. Right.
Then they realise it's probably not a recent murder.
Right.
His knuckles are dragging on the floor. He's a Neanderthal man. They think, hang on, Karl Pilkington.
But when they found out, hang on, it's an old thing.
It's an old thing!
Can it? If it was a murder recent, then you'd go, hang on, how did this happen? Who does he belong to?
Yeah.
Well, the chances are whoever murdered him is also dead.
5,000 years ago, probably, yeah.
So leave it. Just bury it.
I don't think it's a murder investigation.
No, but they are.
It's not Quincy going, this was before my time.
It's not a murder investigation.
Yeah, just one thing bothers me, sir. Just one final thing. My wife loves you, but this guy.
That's how they were.
Why would he have a spear
Yeah.
and a leopard skin? I just can't. I can't get over this.
What are you talking about?
That's what I'm saying.
What are you saying? Right, shut up, everybody. What are you saying? You've got one chance now. You've got to ask me a question, and I will answer it the best way. But what are you saying? What is your question?
Right, he probably spent a load of money.
That's not a question. That's not a question.
Well, let me tell you what I'm saying. Right, they're probably spending a load of money finding out stuff about this fella who died, and even if he wasn't murdered, he'd be dead by now anyway. So get over it. Right, 3,000 years ago he died. Right, so then they start messing about with it. Saying, well, how did he die? Well, it doesn't matter. It was ages ago. Then they start digging his belly open, seeing last meal that he ate.
Yeah.
Oh, he ate seeds and leaves. Well, no surprise, really. There's now else around. Again, spending more money. Someone's been paid money to sort that out. Then they bury him, and then said, hang on a minute, are you sure that he died by, like, a spear? Let's dig him up again. So they dig him up again and find some splinter or something.
I don't believe they buried him.
They did. Well, in some sort of fancy coffin so everyone can see him. But for me, that is more wasteful than sorting out something that's, you know, like someone who's ill. Sort something out, you know.
Sorry, it's not either or. They didn't put a doctor out of surgery.
Exactly. There's not an old man in a bed in a corridor somewhere.
Yeah, they go, Ted, what are you doing? I'm just giving this bloke a stat clear. No, look, we found an old fella in a skit. Okay, okay, you take over. It's not either or, Karl. What are you talking about? It's scientific research.
But don't you see why this is fascinating? It gives us an insight into how we lived 3,000, 5,000 years ago. That's an incredible historical document.
What if it was your equivalent? What if he was like the Karl of the time, and there's people, you know, ghosts now through there going, oh God, I don't believe it. They've dug up Karl. They think we're all like that. Oh no, oh no, they're going into his brain now. They're looking at how his brain works. We're going to get such a bad rep. Oh
well,
dear.
Each to their own. If you like it, I just thought it was a bit of a
waste of money.
A little bit of a waste.
Yeah. Okay.
But there you go. Anyway, we'll give out the answers to Rockbusters next.
If we must.
Yeah. It sometimes stuns me. Sometimes I'm taken aback. Do you know what I mean?
But what worries me is if one day aliens do visit.
I'd love
and
that.
they come down, yeah. But what worries me is they might bump in. What if they bump into you? What if they bump into you and they think that you represent mankind?
And they go up and they start another planet.
They say, we'll ask you 3 questions, and if you answer them correctly, we will not blow up your planet.
Yeah.
We'd be doomed.
It depends.
It depends what they ask you, don't they? What if they said, right, Carl, what's the weirdest thing ever found in China?
I'd say hairy Chinese kid.
And they go, right.
Okay, interesting.
Do I, right?
What don't you see anymore?
What do you see an old bloke doing?
You don't see an old fella eating a Twix.
Yeah. And they say, what if they asked you, what's across the road from you when you're washing up?
Well, there's 3 things. Do you just want one of them?
No, I want all 3.
You want all 3? There was a Chinese kid dancing about in his underpants.
Yeah.
There was a bouncer every night getting ready to go to work. And the 3rd one, the old woman reading a book, the same book.
And they go, right, your planet's saved. See,
back in the ship.
Yeah,
they are a superior race.
There's a shadow somewhere.
It's already good, isn't it?
I'm loving it already.
No, right. There's a shadow. I think it was in America.
Yeah.
And it's on a quiet road. I'm guessing somewhere like Boston. That's what you mentioned.
Okay.
Right?
No.
Somewhere like Boston. And people at night used to see this shadow moving about. And they'd go, what's that? Right? And it got known, the town, the little local town got known for this shadow, but it didn't cause any problems.
What are you talking about?
Well, it was like,
you've lost me.
What are you talking about?
Do you know, like, some places get famous, like, Scotland's got the Loch Ness Monster and that, but it doesn't cause any, but it doesn't cause any problems.
It doesn't exist, go on.
Right, so there's this shadow walking about on the road.
What do you mean? No, what, see, again, rubbish.
Right, so it's
nonsense. Where did you read this? Where did you see this?
This was on the internet, and I'm sure...
sorry! Sorry!
Right.
I thought it was shite. I didn't know it was on the internet.
Right, so this shadow is moving about, and,
independently of an object.
Yeah, and the local mayor and that is like, yeah, it's a bit weird, but it's not harming anyone.
The mayor involved!
Was he elected to that post?
Hey, mayor, we got a problem down here, seems like a shadow. Well, it's not causing any no, it's just
causing any problems.
Yeah,
but that's the thing, it was left for years, and then it did start causing problems.
I see, that's it. If you leave these shadows to go unchecked, Rick, they go crazy.
Yeah.
You let them run amok in the city.
Yeah.
You've got to stand
What did it do?
on
What did it do?
shadows.
What did the shadow do?
It was pushing people off the bikes.
It was what?
It was pushing people off the bikes.
Oh,
I'll find out more for that next week. Right, that'll tease them.
You're a maniac!
We'll do more on that. We haven't had time for educating.
Please never have children.
Right, listen. There's loads of things that have happened where people go, oh, that's weird, that goes to show that we've been around before, or...
No, it doesn't. There's none. I have no evidence for that. Of
well,
reincarnation.
I told you that time when it happened to me when I was younger.
Go on.
Your life flashed before your eyes?
Well, it wasn't like a flashback, but it was it's the next thing next to flashbacks. It was, I was having a bath, right? And, my mum had, like, run the bath and that, and, she said, is that too warm? And I said something like, no, it's alright, it's a lot better than when I used to have a bath in that wooden bath in front of the fire.
Okay.
And she was like, what? And I said, you know, it happened years ago. And she was a bit like, oh. And I can't remember that now, but she talks about it, and, you know, that just goes to show that, because I was at an age when I wouldn't have known about wooden baths years ago in front of fires.
No, but you talk rubbish now. So all you were doing, you were talking rubbish from an early age. Where's the problem?
No, but you can only talk rubbish if you're aware of knowledge.
Well,
I didn't know about wooden baths, so why would I have invented
But Carl,
that?
we've only got your mother's word on this, and she thought you might one day be a doctor.
Yeah.
So...
She put a rock with a feather on it to keep a parrot company.
Lest we forget.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Well, it's all bollocks.
So have you researched this? You've tried to find out when little Karl Mark I and his wooden bath, when he was
No,
around?
I don't want to go there, because that's when you start digging out all sorts of trouble,
rubbish. It's rubbish.
No, it's not rubbish.
Well, it is rubbish.
What sort of stuff might
There's
you
no
discover?
scientific evidence.
No, just like I've said about family trees and that, don't be looking at them, because you're only going to find stuff you don't really want to know about. It's the same as that, innit? Leave it, let it be. Do you know what I mean? If your granddad was Einstein, you'd know about it, because your family would be shouting about it. If he was a bad un, you go, oh, keep that quiet. So don't look at family trees, and it's the same, don't be looking back in your past lives. Because
no
God knows
past
what you've been up to. Well...
Karl and the wooden bath.
proof.
Karl Pilkington, live on air, talking shit again.
I'll tell you a story that Carl told me a couple of weeks ago.
Is this another ghost story? Another spooky story?
Yeah, I called him out. I was, what are you doing? He said, I've just been reading ghost stories again. He said, you don't believe in them, but how do you explain this? Right, I went, go on. He said, I'll tell you as he told me it. He went, bloke, right, just sitting at home, doing, watching telly with his cat. And, the phone rings, and it's a bloke going, is that fire, in your oven okay now? 'Cause your wife called. And Carl went, well, 1, there was no fire in the oven. 2, he wasn't married. I went, right. Go on. He went, well, then, right, there was a knock at the door, and there was 2 sort of people in sort of white coats, and they came and said, we've come about that fire. Your wife called us. He went, 1, there isn't a fire in my oven, and 2, I'm not even married. Right? And he said, and they saw the cat, and they looked at the cat, it looked a bit weird at the cat came out, nothing. He said, and then he went back, sat down, phone rings, and they said, did they sort out the fire in the oven that your wife told us about?
Oh.
He went, 1, there is no fire in my oven, 2, I haven't got a wife. And Carl went, what do you think of that? I went, that's not it. He went, yeah. I went,
that's the end of the story.
What? He went, well, how'd you explain that? I went, explain what? I thought he was going to say, a year later he got married, but she died in an oven fire. Right? I thought it was going to be that, and I went,
that's people winding him up.
Yeah, or, someone did report a fire in the oven, and their name was Johnson, and they looked up Johnson, they got the wrong thing, it was the gas board, and they sent round to the wrong person, right? You know, he went, yeah. I said, I explained it to him, he went, yeah. Why did they look at the cat funny?
Oh, man alive, Carl. This is really weird, right? I was in my house once, right, and the doorbell rang.
Yeah.
Right, I opened the door, and there was no one there.
Yeah.
Right? And then I looked across the street,
and
right, and there were some kids running away.
Yeah.
Now, how do you explain that?
Yeah.
There was another time, right, where, like, I opened the door, and there was a bloke goes, you've ordered pizza. I went, I haven't ordered pizza. And I heard my mate upstairs giggling and putting the phone down.
Yeah. How do you explain that? Carl, seriously, why did you tell me that story? What did you think it was weird about that?
The fact that it was 3 different people.
Is this all the information? Is that the entire story?
It was 3 different people.
Did you fall asleep and not read the end?
A fire that didn't happen, about a wife that didn't exist, and a cat that didn't look happy.
Oh, I'm gonna have a heart attack, Carl. What? I mean, why did they look at the cat funny?
Because cats don't like spirits, do they?
What? The other blokes were ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
So these are kind of beetle about type ghosts. These are ghosts who walk the earth as the undead, just winding people up slightly.
That's lovely. That is lovely.
Seriously,
and a cat that did not look happy.
But seriously, why would ghosts wander around just like winding people up?
Oh.
Maybe something did happen there years ago. Some fire, some woman might have died in a house of a fire or something.
Yeah.
And it sort of all happened again.
Yeah, it's certainly a mystery.
I mean, if you don't
It is a mystery. I mean, I can't.
What's this book you were reading? You were reading a book, which is interesting enough.
It was the For Tea and Times.
Oh, Carl.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what to say. Yeah. Do you believe in? I think lycanthropy. Is it not called?
What's that? Sorry.
Lycanthropy.
What's lycanthropy?
Isn't that werewolfism?
Really?
Isn't it? Do you believe in that, Carl?
They've found stuff, haven't they? They've found kids walking about who are all hairy. Because they've sort of grew up with wolves and that.
Yeah.
So
no, you see, 2 things there. You cannot take on acquired characteristics genetically. So if you grew up with wolves, it wouldn't suddenly make you hairy.
There's been pictures, there's been stories on it, and I reckon most people a lot of people have seen the stories. It's a popular thing.
You mean the kids that are born hairy?
No, there's kids who've been born hairy, right?
Yeah, that's it.
No, but listen, and they walk around on all 4s, and they drink milk from a saucer.
Steve, this is
remember that time with the maggot in the head?
Yeah.
Getting out with bacon, and you were like laughing, and then people called up and said, yeah, I've seen that, I've read about that.
Yeah,
this is the same thing.
Have you seen an XFM listener up close? Have you ever looked?
They drink milk from a saucer.
Yeah, they've got to be kept on leads. people who listen to this show.
There's no point me telling you about stuff.
There is. It's comedy gold.
When you were at school, did you keep arguing with the teacher saying you're talking rubbish there?
Teachers didn't teach us about werewolf boys and ghosts. They taught us maths. God, right. Tell the story about the manhole cover.
Right, in the same magazine as the one with the cat and the fire and that.
Don't tell me that story again, it gives me the shivers.
Yeah, a cat that's got a weird expression on its face is against God.
Anyway, this isn't a scary story, this was just, like physics. Physics.
Yeah.
It was going on about the, nuclear bomb and how powerful it is. And, they put a manhole cover on top of one.
Okay.
Blew it up.
Yeah.
Never saw the manhole cover again.
Man alive, Carl. Unexplained.
What's going on there? Something weird is happening there. Oh.
If anyone has ever seen that manhole cover, please get in touch. We'd love to know where it is.
Oh, that's fantastic. What sort of experiment is that? I imagine all these scientists on multi-billion-pound research budgets, they're going, we test everything. What would you do to a manhole cover? Don't know.
That's like letting a couple of students.
Yeah, exactly.
have control of a nuclear
Do you reckon it can send a traffic cone into orbit? Go on then, put it on there. I love that. Imagine that. What value is that? I might tell you what we could do. We could put the manhole cover on it and aim it, and then blow the bomb up, and the manhole cover would have someone's eye out. Fire it. See if you can fire manhole covers off the nuclear bomb. I love it. Try bangers to a bomb. See if it's louder. Oh. You saw something about the Bermuda Triangle, didn't you?
Yeah, when I talked about ghosts, you sort of just, because you don't believe in it. I think it's because you're scared of it, to be honest, and you can't admit to understanding it and actually believing in it.
Sure.
Thing on last night, Steve.
Yes.
Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know much about that?
Mainly the, song by, what was his name?
What's his name?
Bermuda Triangle, where people disappear.
No,
Bermuda Triangle.
What's his name? No, Barry Manilow.
Barry Manilow.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the lyrics? Bermuda Triangle, where people disappear. Bermuda Triangle, don't go near.
Yeah.
I shouldn't really make a joke out of it.
No, you're right. Go on.
But what it is, right? There's a program saying what it's about. What do you know about it?
As I say, mainly from what Barry's told me, but certainly planes and various boats have gone missing within the Bermuda Triangle.
Planes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously that documentary didn't explore
He
it.
learned a lot about that. I learned a lot about American history through "We Didn't Start the Fire" by Billy Joel.
Again, most of my knowledge of the sort of Tsarist Russia comes from
Rasputin by Boney M.
Well, listen.
Yeah, he was the lover of the Russian queen.
They put some poison into his wine.
Yeah, yeah. They shot him till he was dead.
Yeah,
which is, go on.
Right, well, this,
those Russians.
Sort of bit of an earthquake in the sea.
Sure.
Lets out methane gas.
Okay.
Yeah.
And apparently, if you were swimming out in the sea, and there was like an earthquake and some methane came out, you can't swim in it, you just sink.
Okay.
Even if you're a good swimmer.
What happens if you're two lads from your school, and they
heads.
Yeah, that's like a buoy, so you can see them a mile off, and their webbed hands would get them into shore.
Because they did actually say, even if you're wearing a life jacket, if the water's full of methane, right,
you just sink.
You just sink. So what it's saying is, boats have gone across the sea, got a load of methane in the sea, and the boat just sinks.
Right. What about the planes?
Is it them sort of planes with little sort of floaty things on?
Could be.
That'll be the sort they've landed in the sea.
Right.
And methane's coming.
Well, sorry, Carl. What did the documentary say? Not I imagine.
Yeah, your hypothesis might be one thing.
What did they say on the
They
documentary?
didn't cover that bit. They didn't
cover the planes.
They didn't do the planes.
Something else they said about it though.
Go on.
Loch Ness, the monster,
Sure.
probably doesn't exist.
Okay.
What it is.
Interesting. Hold on, interesting. Oh, interesting.
Is-
What they thought Loch Ness probably didn't exist.
Curious viewpoint.
Hold on. What proof have they got for that, Carl? How can they go around saying stupid things like that?
It's methane,
Right.
Again, in Loch Ness.
and people have seen. What's the lake it's in?
Loch
Loch Ness.
Yeah.
It being the Loch Ness monster.
Yeah.
That's where it lives. That's how it finds its way home.
That's certainly the
You're
clue.
never gonna
Yeah,
If you again, Carl, that's the clue.
Yeah, if you go, and if it's wondering, it goes, excuse me, would you know where I'm being the Loch Ness monster? Where would I be going? Oh, you'd be going to the Loch Ness if that's your home. It's away over there, you
So
big
anyway,
monster, you.
So the bubbles from the
Sure.
methane bubble up out of the water.
Yeah.
People think, oh god, it's a monster's head.
But it's not, it's just water sort of shooting up because of the bubbles.
Well, that's two of the great mysteries of the universe solved by Karl P on a Saturday afternoon.
That is fantastic. Yeah. So, that makes me think a lot of things. So, you know when mediums are sort of like going, oh, I've got something coming through. Do you think they are exhaling a lot of methane gas? And thus making them not think straight? Do you think everything's down to methane gas? Do you think that all the mysteries of the universe are down to methane gas, Carl? What did it say in the documentary you saw?
About what?
What was the budgie happy? We know that budgie was sad. Was it in a room? Because they used to take canaries down the mines, didn't they? They used to take canaries down the mines, they'd smell the methane, and then the budgie would be happy.
I was in St Ives, and just, you know, it was a nice day and that. There was no telly in the place. It was a horrible house. It was haunted. Actually. No, honestly.
No, not honestly. It wasn't haunted. There's no such thing as ghosts. So you saying honestly it was haunted means fuck all.
It's the weirdest place and weirdest sensation I've ever had. I spoke to a woman called Mrs. Battersby.
Right.
Who sat on my bed keeping me up all night. My mum came up, she said, you look shattered. I said, yeah, I haven't had a kip all night. She said, why? I said, I've been talking to Mrs. Battersby. She said, who's that? I said, no, some old woman. Now, I can't remember it now, but that's what I did then. And then,
Sorry, so Mrs. Battersby didn't exist, is that what you're saying? She was the ghost?
Yeah.
Wasn't the landlady?
No, there's no landlady. It's a big house, about 12 bedrooms in it.
Right.
Dead cheap to stay there, because it was a wreck. My
Were
mum
you
and dad
ill?
went out
Were you
one
ill?
night.
Did you have flu at the time?
No, I had nothing like that. I just...
So you were sitting up, but you were awake, and you were having a conversation with Mrs. Battersby.
What did she look like?
I can't remember. I can't even remember having the chat now.
Right,
but at the time, I was like, oh, she just doesn't shut up. Chatting all night.
So you don't remember this happening? Or you do remember it happening?
No, I remember that, like, if I see my mum now and I mention St Ives, she'll go, oh yeah, Mrs. Battersby. She remembers coming in, because she was older than me, wasn't she? So, to her, my mum.
Was she?
Yeah.
How old was Mrs. Battersby? She was older than both of you?
She was older, because I'm calling her Mrs. Battersby. If she was my age, I'd probably say, oh, it's Susan or whatever.
Right, sure.
You
Miss
call older
Miss
people
Battersby.
by the surname, don't you?
Yeah.
Anyway, so she kept me up all
you?
night. Don't know, I'm thinking of pictures at the wedding.
Why do you have to go through other things to just have a memory?
How old do you reckon you were?
I don't understand why you haven't got direct access to your memories.
How old do you reckon you were?
Your mum was older though, yeah?
You must have a vague idea of when this
I'm
event
thinking
was.
about it now, I'm thinking.
Okay.
I'm picturing the picture of myself at this wedding.
Okay.
And how old are you? What are you doing?
How tall were you?
I'd say I look about...
How were you?
I'd say I look about 7 or 8, looking at the picture.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
So Mrs. Battersby is chatting away to you. You don't remember what she said, but you do remember having the conversation.
No, he doesn't remember it at
I
all.
don't remember the chat now.
Well then
So-
why are you telling us? You
not
must
your
remember it
memory.
because you're telling us about
It's not
it.
your
Because it's a memory, my mum's reminded me of it.
Yeah, but all it says is, oh, this is so far removed. This is hearsay that your mum said you spoke to a ghost once, and you don't even remember the ghost.
Mrs. Battersby.
No,
Yeah,
you
no, but
remember
you
the
don't
name
remember
only because
her.
your mum reminded you of
In a
it.
court of law, if there was a ghost court, they go hearsay, thrown out of court.
Right.
You
yeah.
don't have a memory of Mrs.
No,
Battersby.
look, I know that when I was a kid,
Yeah.
I ate a beetle. I ate a beetle because I thought it was licorice. Now, I can't remember that now.
You can't remember that, but you know it happened because your mother told you it happened.
Exactly.
Right. But the fundamental thing is that we can believe we can believe you ate a beetle, right? Because that is something that could happen in real life.
But-
what we're questioning is that you spoke to a ghost.
What sort of beetle was it?
Just one of them standard beetles, just a black shiny one.
Thing is, right, a couple of years ago, we were in the Ivy, and the food came, and there's a big blob of wasabi, right? It was like called an Oriental hors d'oeuvre, right? And I looked over at Carl, and he started going, drinking water. I said, what have you done? He said, I had that. I said, that was a blob of wasabi. He said, I thought it was one mushy pea.
That's a classy restaurant. They're serving one mushy pea.
Well, they do that, don't they?
Wow.
Small portions. It's all trendy, isn't it?
Yeah, I love the fact that it's exactly the same thing. But they've swapped beetle for wasabi and licorice for pea. You see things, you see something. You
It's a
think,
good job you remembered that anecdote, though, because he doesn't.
exactly, yeah. In years to come, we'll be going. Ate some wasabi once. Did you?
Yeah.
Well, according to Ricky, I did. Yeah, I was in the ivy. I thought it were mushy pea.
So hang on, I just want to go back to Mrs. Battersby because you confidently said it was haunted. It was the most haunted place.
Yeah.
But you've got no real evidence for it because even you claim you had this encounter, you don't even remember it.
But you don't remember everything in life,
But you
do you?
supposedly had a conversation with a ghost.
I know, but I didn't know. When I was younger, I didn't
You
think
remember
that
the
was a ghost.
specifics of an ant walking around?
Yeah, so you thought, so I see. If you'd have had the memory, it would just be a nice old lady on the end of your bed all night.
Right.
And then...
Then when I mentioned it, my mum was saying, "What do you mean, Mrs. Battersby? Who's Mrs. Battersby?"
Right.
When you're a kid, you're not terrified, are you?
No.
Nothing scares
I mean,
you.
I'm beginning to think, who the fuck is Mrs. Battersby, I must admit. But
So, yeah, that was, but it was a weird place. I mean, there was no telly. All they had for sort of company was a calculator.
Carl, you are the strangest little man that's ever lived. Company.
No.
There goes Carl with his friend. What's his friend? Oh, it's a little...
It's a Sanyo 4197G.
I love that. That's amazing.
Oh, calculator, do that boobs thing again.
My mum and dad used to go out. I stayed in there.
Just shots of him with his calculator on the beach. Like that. It's sunlit. Maybe beautiful and the
4 plus 16, what will it be?
Why are you